My, female 28, husband, male 30, and I were invited to my husband's brother's wedding in the new year. For some context, we do not live in the same country as his family. We live in the US and they live in the UK, and we are trying to save for a house, so we really weren't planning on going on a holiday this year. Wedding is in July 2024. Truth be told, I am rather excited for this trip. I love his family in the UK. But my husband is stressed as it's going to cost us a lot of money, upwards of $5,000 including flights, hotel at the wedding venue, trains, etc. Also, for some more important backstory info, my husband's family hate each other. I mean, a nasty divorce that led to parents not speaking to each other for years. Most of the siblings, including the brother-in-law, sided with the mom in the divorce. However, my husband has made it a point to not choose, and is very close to both parents still. Both parents have new families with younger kids. Now, 3 months ago, my husband's mother told us that we would be sitting at the table with all the other siblings. Most siblings are under 15 years old. The youngest is 8. My husband asked if we could potentially sit with his dad's side of the family, or his grandparents who we are very close to. However, his mother told him that we are the only neutral family members, so therefore we need to sit with the siblings as this is their first time meeting. The wedding party is worried about potential family drama arising. My husband and I were fine with this as long as we are sitting together. However, a few days ago my brother-in-law asked my husband to be a groomsman, to which he accepted. I was thrilled for my husband as he isn't super close to his brothers. I asked where I would be sitting now that he would be at the wedding party's table. My husband just shrugged and said they likely won't move tables around that much. I asked the bride, who said I was still sat with the siblings. I asked politely if I could be moved to the table with the grandparents. Again, I am extremely close to them. The bride politely told me that I am the only neutral party who has met all the siblings, so I could manage the questions and potential arguments arising. Again, this is the first time they are all meeting. I told her that I appreciate this is something that is worrying her, but I am not spending thousands of dollars to be a babysitter. She said she understood, but the seating is final. We argued a little more, but she ended the argument by saying I should be happy to be sitting with the kids because I work with kids and I should be flattered the family trusts me enough with this responsibility. I began to argue, but the bride snapped that if I hated kids this much I shouldn't have become a teacher. Please don't get me wrong, I love his siblings. But they are all at least 15 years younger than I am. I also love kids. I am a teacher, but I want to relax and have a good time at this wedding. I also forgot to mention there will be cousins and kids from the bride's family at the table as well. I just made up my mind that I will not be sitting at the kids' table. I am going to wander the reception, drink and have a good time. I will be pulling up a chair with the grandparents. I do not think it's a big ask for me to be moved to a table, but maybe I am wrong. My mom and husband think I am overreacting, and I should just sit with the kids. But my coworkers and friends think I should not be forced to babysit and/or manage potential family fights. Before I continue, I should clarify a few things. 1. Unfortunately, we bought the plane tickets already and they are not refundable, or a refund would have been my first choice. 2. They never formally labeled this table as the kids' table. They refer to it as the siblings' table. My husband has 3 younger full brothers, including the groom, and they are adults. None of them are sitting at the siblings' table. This table is completely made up of half-siblings that are 15 and under. I am the one who is calling a spade a spade. I showed my husband this thread, who agreed with you all that I am being treated unfairly. I do want to add that my husband did tell his brother that if I was sitting at the siblings' table, he could not be a groomsman already. I told him to not worry about this after my argument with the bride. It's clear they want me there regardless, and that's my frustration. My husband and I are having a conversation with them later today. I will update y'all on the outcome. Update 1. Next day. Alright, first of all I want to thank you for all the support and advice on my original post. I read every single response. I even showed my husband, who agreed that this situation was simply ridiculous, and that the bride was using me as free childcare. It turns out the issue was deeper than just wanting free childcare, so bear with me. This is going to be a long update as lots of stuff happened yesterday and this morning, but before I get into the update, I need you all to understand some background info. My husband is the second oldest in the family, with 2 younger full brothers. He has 5 half-siblings. The oldest sibling, we will call him John, cut ties with the family completely about 5 years ago. My husband and I met 10 years ago while I was studying abroad in the UK. We moved back and forth between the US and the UK for 6 years before we got eloped and moved permanently to my home state. His mother has never been supportive of my husband's decision, but she has come to terms with it over the years. His 2 younger full brothers have always been giant mama's boys. They both live within a 5-mile radius of their mom's house. My husband is very good at setting boundaries with his family, which has led to tension between him, his mother and brothers. The brothers would often make awful comments about how my husband loves their father more than their mother, and that he broke his mother's heart when he moved away. His brothers have never outright been rude to me, but it is blatantly obvious I am not in their inner circle. I don't want to get into the nitty-gritty details of all the fights between my husband, his father, his mother and his brothers, but to sum it up, his brothers 99% of the time choose the mom. I mean Christmas, birthdays, family vacations, etc. The other 1% of the time usually ends with someone making an inappropriate joke about the divorce, followed by a massive blow-up to which my husband gets in the middle, trying to solve the problem. My husband and I mostly spend time with my family as they are close by, but when we do visit his family, we try to divide our time with each family fairly. The bride and groom are very close with the mother. So close that the bride has asked my husband's mother to walk her down the aisle. Okay, so here is the update. My husband and I Zoomed with the bride and groom yesterday to address our concerns. For those who told me just to sit at the table because they are likely stressed with the wedding planning, I helped plan my sister's wedding, so I know moving one seat is not a big deal. And I only asked because my husband wasn't sitting with me anymore. The bride just said that she confirmed with the rest of the family that the siblings will all be under my care during the reception. I asked if it would just be my husband's siblings, to which my brother-in-law said, "We don't know yet. There are other family members coming and cousins who might want to sit with their cousins." I would then say, "So this is the kids' table," and my brother-in-law would say, "That's not important." I finally asked, "Are you going to blame me if any family drama comes up?" My brother-in-law just said, "That's why you are there, to prevent family drama." So, you were all right about that. Okay Reddit, this is where things got interesting. For those who said we were being punished, bingo. The bride adds my mother-in-law into the chat. She tells me to stop being selfish, and that if I had a problem with being at the siblings' table, it's clear I have a problem being in the family. She also said, if I am not willing to mediate potential family-related questions and problems that might arise, I clearly do not care about my brother-in-law and his bride. And that I want to create problems on their big day. My husband was shocked and asked what makes her say that. My mother-in-law then says that it's clear I have been manipulating my husband away from her family. She accused me of siding with his father in the divorce, and that ever since my husband met me we have been spending more time with his father's side of the family. I want to mention that their divorce happened almost 20 years ago, and we rarely talked to his father. Her only evidence to this accusation was that I am not willing to openly side with her. I was completely shocked by these accusations. My husband said that these accusations are rude and inappropriate, and demanded my mother-in-law apologize, or he will be cutting her off like John did. Mother-in-law started crying. The bride chimed in that we never included them in our wedding, we eloped, and that this was my opportunity to prove myself as a dedicated member of the family. Obviously this blindsided me, as I genuinely had no idea they felt this way. I always go above and beyond for Christmas and birthday gifts. When we visit I ensure I dote on their children, and I always take the ladies of the family out for a ladies' brunch. I can understand our wedding situation is upsetting, but if my mother-in-law had voiced this to us 4 years ago we would have hosted a small ceremony or family celebration. My mother-in-law adds that since I wasn't willing to deal with the family drama at our wedding, I should be willing to deal with it for my brother-in-law. I just sat there, jaw on the floor. My mother-in-law snapped, saying she knew the type of person I was from the second I excluded her from her son's wedding, and I am a selfish manipulator who wanted to steal her son from her and destroy her family, and that my husband in enabling me by not insisting I put the family's needs before my own enjoyment and babysit the kids during her other son's big day. She was hoping my meltdown would show my husband what kind of person I was. Needless to say, we ended up fighting for a few more minutes before my husband slammed the computer screen down. My husband and I chatted for a moment. He apologized for his family and reassured me he knew none of those things his mother said were true. We turned our phones off and had a date night. John, male 32, my husband's older brother, got in contact with us through Instagram this morning. His wife gave me a call, and we talked for hours about what happened. Apparently, the reason they left the family was because my mother-in-law did something similar to John's wife. We will call Sandy, female 32. Sandy didn't want a big wedding due to drama on her family's side and decided to have a small ceremony with their friends. She invited my mother-in-law, who refused to attend because my father-in-law would be there. Mother-in-law threatened Sandy she would make sure John left her if Sandy didn't exclude John's father from the wedding. Sandy didn't listen and went through with their wedding as planned. Mother-in-law accused Sandy of cheating and baby-trapping John. Sandy was pregnant at the time. My mother-in-law stalked Sandy and took photos of her out with her friends and with her brother, sending them to John as proof of her infidelity. Mother-in-law posted these photos to Facebook, captioning it, "Caught you, cheater." Relatives began harassing both John and Sandy. John and Sandy moved away and blocked everyone, and have not been in contact with mother-in-law's side of the family ever since. I don't remember this at all, as I had only been with my husband for a year, and he didn't want me involved with his family drama. Obviously, I feel awful that this happened to John and Sandy, but they assured me they forgive both me and my husband. Long story short, Sandy and John are still in contact with the father. How they found out about our situation. John and my husband had a long phone call this morning, to which my husband apologized for enabling his mother. My husband has gone no contact with his mother and brothers, for now, and we are going to use our trip to visit my old friends from uni, and visit John and Sandy. I am really excited to meet them. For those who made it this far, thank you for reading. This small problem ended up revealing a much larger issue. I am very thankful for this community for pushing me to push back. Sometimes I can be a little shy and overly forgiving. Looking back, the signs were all there and I just ignored them. I am very hurt, as I really want to have a relationship with my husband's family, but I know I deserve better. Again, thank you, and if anything else happens I will keep you all